So I don't know how you guys are very into, like, let's say for instance horoscopes, like reading your horoscope. Like there's some people that read it daily, monthly,
Like
yearly.
zodiac signs and stuff like
Right,
that.
right.
Mm-hmm.
But we were talking about it, and we were saying that when I was like around, like I was in high school, there was a point in time where I would read mine daily, to the point that in my head, like I was like, oh my gosh, like this is gonna happen, or what does this mean? What's gonna happen today that my horoscope says this?
Mm-hmm.
It's very interesting. I kind of stopped doing that. It's kind of crazy, like to think how I was, before, as far as like religiously looking at it daily on the newspaper, which is crazy. But I want to see what y'all think about that.
Yeah, Naomi reads. I don't know how often she reads it, but she'll send me some every now and then, and you read it, and it's so funny how sometimes it's like accurate with what's going on.
It's really spot on. That's why it freaked me out. Like, oh my gosh, how do you know my life?
It's like I'll be like like an argument with a friend or something. She'll send it to me. She's like, "You will overcome an obstacle with someone close," and you're like, "What the heck?" It is crazy how I mean I would assume it's like just very a generic statement, but it is crazy like when she sends it to me, and I'm just like, this is so accurate with exactly what's going on in my life.
But do you think it's because it is a very generic statement that maybe everybody can kind of? You say you're in an argument, and you're like, am I in an? Oh my gosh, I am in an argument. Like, kind of like pull from different things.
I think so. I think it's kind of like those people who say they can see the like the other side. Like there's a famous lady who does it on reality TV.
A medium?
Yes, a medium.
Mm-hmm.
They said like the people who negotiate against them or on the other side of them say it's because they say very generic things like someone in this room has had a relative pass away, and of course we've all had relatives pass away, so they kind of just feed off these generic questions and eventually can narrow it down. So yeah.
I think it's really they're just looking at your body language and your face, and they're just putting out a name, or they're just putting out like, oh, it's your grandfather, right? It's your grandfather. I think I'm very skeptical of mediums. My sister loves watching those shows. I'm like, I don't know how much of that is accurate. I don't know why would you do something like that for money, for publicity.
I don't necessarily believe them, but I believe in spirits, so I don't like messing with that, I guess you can say.
Yeah.
Especially we're continue talking about like tarot cards, right? Apparently you can sit down, you flip a card and says, oh, this means this and this is gonna happen. And I kind of brought up a interesting point and said maybe it's not going on if they could really do something and manifest something. Maybe it's, I don't like doing that, because what if it's not telling you what's going to happen? It's like almost manifesting it. Like, hey, this is going to happen. Maybe it wasn't going to happen before, but because you did that, it's going to kind of manifest that. And that's kind of crazy to me.
Yeah, like it sits in the back of your mind the whole entire time, and almost. Yeah. I could see. Do you think, since if you don't believe in any of that, right? You don't believe essentially right? People
saying that they can.
Okay, right. So you're right. Okay. So you don't believe in it. Do you think they're wrong for doing it then?
I think if they could actually do it, I don't think they should do it for money. I don't think they should go out and do it for publicity, because I think that's a very sensitive topic. Like someone who lost a dear person, a loved one in their life, and they're just out there doing it on TV for just media. I think they should, if they have their own shop, sure, I just don't think they should exploit people.
So even if they get bigger, how do you stop? Okay, so going off of that, how do you stop yourself from getting bigger then? So if you're doing it just for your local audience, I guess is what you're saying, in a local shop, how do you stop yourself from getting bigger? Like, more people are coming in, you're getting more audience, people are posting you on social media, because we're in a day and age that people take pictures and videos of everything, and it blows up. What do you do if you don't believe in them, but you do think they should do it in local shops? But how do you stop these people from getting bigger?
Are you saying like giving people false hope or false statements, or is essentially what you?
Yeah, like giving false hope and false statement, but on how them. I can see it. Well, I see what point, what you mean. Like, what else are you supposed to do? I just still feel like, man, I'm still iffy about it whenever I see it on TV. Like, I'm gonna always have some doubt when I see it, because how do I know? The better way of me saying is like, how do I know if you're actually just seeing it, like you're seeing them from the other side, or you're just doing it just to for the money, for just exposure. That's what I'm trying to get at.
Okay, so what about people who do it like who aren't famous? Like, let's say you have a buddy that comes up to you and says, "Hey, like this is what I think I can do," and do you think they're right for doing it? Let's like take away the money and the people who are on TV for it, because obviously there's people everywhere that believe they have this ability. Are they wrong for it?
For still doing it, I think I'll still have my doubts.
Right, you have your doubts, but are they wrong for it? Like, is it ethically is it unethical for them to be trying to say that they can see the other side?
I don't think it's unethical for them to say it, but like doing it for money to exploit other people.
So do you feel the same way, like as far as like paparazzi, because they're doing technically the same thing? They're exploiting other people, or like sportcasters, or
Just media in general.
yeah, media in
Reporters.
general. Because essentially that's what it is. Essentially that's what you're saying, is that it's not right for people to exploit other people, but that's what 90% of all media does. So is that incorrect then? Should we shut down all media?
They're reporting other things.
Well, I feel like that's a little different though. I feel like that's kind of different from saying you're seeing a level from the other side than from a sportcaster, which you're getting actual information.
What
from
about like
another
gossip
source.
magazines?
Not all that is true.
Right, and so that's what I'm trying to compare it to. Like, there's obviously an industry of the mediums and the gossip. Not all of it is true. So, are we in your opinion, are we banning everything that doesn't have factual evidence behind it?
I guess you're just saying that you don't like that in general, right?
Yeah.
I'm guessing.
Well, like mediums.
Like he's just saying like because you don't like this, you also don't like this because it's essentially the same thing.
Yeah, so it's literally exactly what I'm saying.
Like, are you okay for media to report something wrong about someone? I guess not okay, but are you as passionate as them doing that?
Oh, so like if I'm hearing a rumor from
like
a
a
gossip,
feeling-
I'm hearing a rumor from a like Entertainment
Yeah.
or something
Right.
like that.
Just in.
Do I feel like the same? Do I feel the same way from
Yes.
me?
Like, our feelings mutual.
Are the feelings mutual? I think it's a little. I consider it as just two different things.
Okay,
That's
okay,
what- that's what I mean.
here's a better example I just thought of.
Okay.
What about religion in general then?
Religion.
Because that has no factual evidence behind it. That's essentially whether you're a Christian, Catholic, a monk, who you're obviously believing somebody who's preaching, and they're preaching off their quote unquote opinion, same exact thing as a medium would do, and has basis on the other side of a spiritual world. Is that okay?
Well, I'm not really skeptical of religion because I went to a Christian school, so I grew up with that. I'm not really skeptical of that, but to me, man, I'm still skeptical of the media because I still have that just doubt. I still have that doubt. It's kind of hard to explain, but she's still that doubt of whether they're just saying this just to.
Do you think it could be, to look on the positive light of it? Do you think it could be more therapeutic? Like if I'm having a hard time letting somebody go, and I go see this medium, and they tell me, whether you want to believe what they're actually seeing, but if they sit there and they can tell me that the other person's forgiven me, or that they've moved on, or like I can move on now, and they've so on and so forth, and it's therapeutic to me. Because to me, like, that's the most positive look at it. It's almost like wedding counselors and therapists. Like, it's not for everybody, right? Like, not anybody who goes to therapy, it's not 100% always going to work for them.
Yeah.
To me, like, this could be, I look at mediums as another way of therapy.
Yeah.
If you're having a hard time with that and you go to somebody and they can help you, what do you think about that?
I guess when you put it in that point of view, I guess you are kind of right. It could be therapeutic for some people, not all, but some people. I don't really think it's therapeutic for me because I'll still have that doubt. But for other people, I get what you mean. I get it. I think it'd be best for other people. I would just still have that doubt if I went to me. That's the thing about it.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's how I feel about it. But if it works for other people, go ahead and do it. Would you go to a meeting?
What I would like to hear, I would like to go to, because they're having one here locally. I would like to go to it just to hear it and see it live. I don't 100% know if I believe it or not, but I would like to see it. I'm all about I would like to see it. When we're in Miami, remember when we were in Miami, I wanted to go get. I wanted to actually, since you bring up the cards, I wanted to go get that read for me, just because like I want to see it, right? I want to see it. I want to see what's said. But again, there will always be that lingering in the back of my mind. What if and what am I stirring up here? So there is that. I'm on the line here. I'm walking a tightrope between falling over in the cushiony spot and falling over to my death, basically.
So you just want to see it firsthand.
Correct.
You just don't want it. Just like I'm gonna stay away, but I just want to see it. I want to see it
Curious
firsthand.
about it, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very curious when it comes to that kind of stuff.
So so you want to do the medium? You would go see a medium, but not actually like you would go with somebody else to go do it. Like if they were doing a medium, you go with them, right?
I would 100% go with somebody to go do a medium. I don't think it's kind of like what is that magic trick that people do? Hypnosis. It's kind of like hypnosis, okay?
Yeah.
So I believe in hypnosis, being hypnotized, right? I'm a firm believer in it because I believe I have been hypnotized before, right? But do I think it's a magical power? No. I think it's a conscious of mind, right? I do think that if you're open to the opportunity and you're open to what could happen, you could be quote unquote hypnotized, okay? So I think stuff like that is the same thing. If I went into a medium, I feel like personally I'm not giving them a chance because I would be doubting everything you said from the moment I walk in. But if I went with someone else who's open-minded, I would love to see that interaction with them. Basically, I know going into a medium, I would not be open-minded enough to be able to accept it. I would be doubting you from the very beginning. But
Speaking of that, and I saw a video once where they kind of had like a seminar and they had like bro people on the stage, and this guy was just hypnotizing everyone. And then there was this lady sitting down. They're all sitting down, but she was at the end, and she was like pretty much mocking that, like the person hypnotizing people, to the point that when it was her turn, she got hypnotized and she woke up, and the guy's like, "What's your name?" She's like, "Bob." Like, it was so crazy to see that. I guess it is a persuasion kind of thing. Like if they can get in there and persuade your mind, then you yourself will believe that yourself too.
So you say you were hypnotized?
yeah, so I went to college. Well, I went to college. Guys, you know. In college, I was my job was like basically we went to go get talent, let's say, to bring into the college for like the students, and one of them was a hypnotist, right? And we went there, and I volunteered. I went on there, and it's super crazy. You sit there for I don't even know 10 minutes probably. At least this is how this guy did it. He's playing this soothing music and he's talking to you and he's saying relax. And you can literally feel your body like
Sink in.
yeah, you're just sinking. And like I watch videos afterwards, you can see my body like I'm standing pretty straight up or sitting pretty straight up rather. And you can literally see my like shoulders start to slouch and you eventually like lean over and then yeah, you're acceptance to basically whatever he says. But I do think it's a mindset. It's 100% you kind of relax, almost like you're flirting with your brain in dream mode into reality mode, I guess. But I think you have to be so open-minded to it because you can see people that are on the stage, they get up and they just walk off because it didn't affect them. So yeah, I don't think it's like a superpower, but I do think you're able to kind of like there was a study that I read once that said they took X amount of people, they took them in the room, and they basically convinced them that they saw something. I think it was like they saw, let's say, I remember, they went to a specific store in like 20 years ago, right? Mm-hmm. And they talked to them about this store, they said its surroundings, and they said what was inside of it, and they said what you did. And then a couple days later, they brought them into again to kind of do more research on them, and they asked them, have you ever been to this store? And a lot of them said, yeah, I've been to that store before, even though the store never existed and the store was never a thing. But they were able to kind of manipulate your mind to think that you have been to this store before. That's why a lot of people are against like interrogation, because interrogation is essentially kind of the same thing. And there's a lot of
yeah.
There's a safe zone interrogate. That way you can't like hound somebody, because eventually you could literally create
like crap. I didn't do it, but did I do it? Like,
yes,
oh my gosh, yeah.
Yes, 100%. You can create that decision in somebody's mind. That whole I might have done it.
Yeah, because the way how they're talking about it, like they're the detective describing, oh, this is how it went down, and you have that doubt in your mind, like, wait a minute, I might have done this.
Remember that big old case where this guy, killed his wife and his kid and like dumped them somewhere. Where was this? Like it was like everywhere. There's like this huge case going on a couple months. That's quite a bit ago. But I watched the interrogation part of it where they brought him in, sat him down, and they were just talking to him, and it's just so crazy how they can kind of like it's really like they know what it's so crazy to see like these interrogators know what to do and say to kind of steer it in a way that in your head that you don't think you're gonna say it, and boom, he like says it, and you're like, oh my gosh, like. And they're long. They're like 4-hour interrogations.
Hours.
Your mind is like getting worked.
And you're in there beforehand for hours too, just waiting for them to come in, aren't they?
Yeah, and that's all the plan. It all goes hand in hand. Just like therapy and the hypnotist and the interrogation, they're opening that part of your brain basically and allowing you interrogating like hypnotizing. I think you do have to go in there with the mindset, but interrogating, just like you said, they're making you go into that mindset because you're just so tired of it all that essentially you can technically change your mind about the whole situation. And it's crazy to kind of see that. That's why I do think like hypnotists can actually hypnotize people.
So you said you saw the video, right, of you getting hypnotized?
Uh-huh.
So what do you remember of that day? So you didn't see the video. What do you remember that day after you got knocked out? Do you remember getting like...
So it's hard because now I remember a lot, but I do remember after that the show, let's call it. I didn't really remember much because I went with a bunch of girls because everyone that was in part of the thing I was in, it was like 4 females, right, and my boss, right, and so they were telling me what happened, and at that moment I remember not remembering much, but as they talked about it and as like pretty much as they talked about it, I was like, okay, I kind of remember that, okay, but afterwards they asked me that same question, what do you remember, and I couldn't really remember much. But I stood up and he told me like basically I was gonna stand up, run around the room, act like I'm a fairy. Okay, so I stood up, ran around the room, and I was like doing like a ballerina kind of jump thing. But it's crazy because like you see me, and I don't look like I'm fully control my body, I guess. Like the way I'm running is kind of like slouchy. When I'm sitting, I'm kind of slouchy. When I'm walking, it looks like I'm drugged. Okay, that's 100% what it looks like. Someone who's drunk. And that's what I look like in the video. Like I wasn't running like I would normally run. I wouldn't walk like I was normally walk. And then when I had to talk, it was so funny like hearing me talk because I sounded like I was drunk. Yeah. And there was one point they asked me, "What is a secret that you want to tell about somebody here?" Right? And I looked at my boss and I was like, He's Batman. And so it was stuff like that. Like, and I remember a lot of it now, right? And I remember at the very beginning, like I said, you get so relaxed. It's almost like you fell asleep. That's the best way I can put it. And I remember after you snap out of it, I was so awake. Like I felt like I had literally the best sleep of my whole entire life. And that's the best way I can describe it, is when he's kind of soothing you into this whole relaxation statement, kind of, that you're just, you're getting into this relaxation state and you're almost kind of like asleep.
Were you ever worried like he would like plant something in your head? I know he made you run like a fairy, or and also like say what your secret, who's Batman. But have you ever seen The Office Space? Have you ever seen that movie?
No.
It's about this guy who just literally like just hates his job, hates his life. He just doesn't do anything. He doesn't have any motivation. So he goes to a hypnotist and he's at his job and he's just angry as a boss, but he never says anything. So he goes to a hypnotist and and the guy says, okay, gets him to a relaxed state. He's knocked out. It's all right. You are not try so hard, but you're just not going to not care about anything. You're just going to not be so passive. You're just going to do what you really want to do. Does that make sense? Kind of being like the opposite of himself.
Right.
And so he gives him to a count of 10 and he's like that, right? But the hypnotist, he has a heart attack and ends up dying. So he's in that state like forever. So he's a completely different person. Does that make sense? Do you ever feel like that hypnotist would have put something in your head that would make you change like one certain thing about your life?
So the hypnotist did say towards the very end, basically, when I see, and I want to say it was the color red, if I remember correctly, but when I see the color red, it means that I'm going the right direction in life, right? Do I believe that today? Not really. Like, I can't name a specific instance today that I've seen the color red and been like, oh, holy cow, this is where I'm supposed to be, right? But that is what the message was that he left everybody at the end that was hypnotized, was that if you see the color red, you know you're going the right direction in life. So as always,
stay fresh,
stay hungry,
stay driven,
and stay humble.